On today's show, we have got a brief, and I mean brief, recap. And per usual, it is going into the weekend show. So we got 1,000 picks minimum. So without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome to episode of Sitting Courtside. Today is Friday, February 16th. I'm slightly getting under the weather. I'm probably going to get worse in front of your guys' eyes. It's going to be wonderful, but it was a wonderful week thus far of college basketball. We have 1,000 picks we need to go over for the weekend. It's going to be a great slate per usual. So Kyle, take it away, sir.
You might say it was a great week, but from a betting standpoint, it was not my best week. But anyway, I just want to address, you said right in front of your eyes. I got a couple comments this week about they don't like how on the recording that you can see the computer in my glasses.
Yeah,
Guys,
the
I'm blind.
glare.
I
Yeah.
can't help it. I literally can't help it. So just listen to the thing. You don't have to watch, just listen. But anyway, very quick recap. Because we have, like Jordan said, so many picks. We'll try to get through the picks as quick as possible because I do think it's going to be a profitable weekend. But just to go through what happened this week, because there was a lot of ranked teams, we were going to actually record this podcast without any recap, but I thought with how many ranked teams lost, we should talk about it. Kansas absolutely blown out by Texas Tech on Monday. UNC was beat by Syracuse. Virginia beat at home to end their 23-game home winning streak by Pittsburgh. Illinois State takes down our team. Which of those four is the biggest upset to you?
Probably Indiana State losing.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a bad loss. And we talked about it like 2 weeks ago, and I think they were still favored by like 17 and a half. That was
Mm-hmm.
that was brutal.
Yeah, brutal. And I had this for later in the podcast, but they finally lost again. That wasn't quad one. So this is the first non-quad one. It's a
Yeah.
quad four loss. It's
Oh
the
my
worst kind of
gosh.
loss you could possibly
Just,
have.
yeah, it was terrible. And goodness. Well, I hate that we almost semi spoke it into existence.
um, yeah, and then I had like the best beat in that game. It kind of sucked because it meant Indiana State lost, but they kept fouling the entire like end of the game despite being down double digits. And it went from I had an X in like our spreadsheet for like the over to miss because it was 121 with 2.5 minutes left, and I had over 143. And it like hit by like 2 points because they hit a three
That's
at the
funny.
end. So.
Well, you say that. I know you mentioned to me like it's not looking great. There was like 3.5 minutes left, and I think they were down like 12. I was like, I mean, they could maybe come back. I mean, they're
Yeah.
supposed to be superior. They can shoot threes really well. Like it's possible, but I mean, that's maybe why they kept fouling. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, they couldn't hit their threes at the end. They were doing a lot of drives and getting 2 for 2. Like they would get two and then foul, and the other team would hit 2 free throws. But
yeah.
they just didn't look the same as they have in the past. But they haven't looked the same the last couple of games. They barely held on the last two, so kind of predictable, but didn't want it to happen. All right, so again, very quick recap. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about from the week, or is that good?
I'm sorry, did you reference South Carolina Auburn too?
Oh, I did not bring that one up. I
Okay,
did not. All right.
that's fine. So South Carolina lost by 40.
Yeah.
However, I'll be admittingly now, I didn't watch a second of the game, but I did look at the
Mhm.
box score.
Yeah.
That was just I actually don't even hold it against South Carolina. They
Yeah.
literally shot 31% from the field. Auburn shot 60% from three, 61% from the field. Rebounds were the same, turnovers were relatively the same, fouls were relatively the same. Like Auburn just was on fire. On
Yeah.
fire. Like to me, that was I hold nothing against South Carolina. Auburn probably is the better team, but that's a 1 in 100 game.
And I don't want to go through all my stats because we are going to talk about Auburn later in this. So I have a bunch of stats because they are at home and later. But yeah, Auburn, just a whole different team at home, but we'll
Yeah.
go into that
Yeah.
further. And I do want to note one really, really big injury. It actually affected Thursday night's game, but Ty Berry for Northwestern, he's out for the rest of the year with a torn meniscus. This is a team we've talked about a pretty decent amount this year. We thought they were pretty feisty. They played Purdue really well. They beat them once. They took them into overtime. Without Ty Berry, he's the best three-point shooter in the Big Ten. Senior leader, that's going to be a harsh loss for them. And just to like put it in perspective, they lost to Rutgers tonight. On the road, yes, at Rutgers, but Rutgers been struggling. They're the worst offensive team in the nation, and they lost. Northwestern blew a 7-point halftime lead, so that's going to really affect them, especially when it comes to March. All right. So, okay, your boy's in a slump. So we're going to give some updated records. I haven't had a winning day since Saturday.
Oh my.
So I am now 292, 231, and 1. I'm down to 55.4%. So I am really treading backwards here. So,
Okay.
but,
Okay.
but
I honestly haven't had a lot of activity since
mhm.
last podcast. Only had 10 games on the slate, went 5-5 in them. So 432, 385, and 14 for 831 picks, 53%.
All right. So you were definitely making progress on me. But
I don't
I
know if
mean,
it's I'm making
yeah,
progress or you're just
yeah.
falling down.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm regressing to the mean, basically. All right, so I think if I do my math right, we have 15 picks to go through.
Let's
So
go.
I think we just start right off on Friday, 10 p.m. Mountain West Battle, New Mexico, 20-5 at San Diego State, 19-6. New Mexico is actually the best road team in the Mountain West. They're 6-3 on the road, but San Diego State is a perfect 10-0 at home. Both teams top 23 in Ken Palm. San Diego State is an elite defense, while New Mexico has an incredibly large offensive advantage in this one. Complete contrast in styles. New Mexico, one of the fastest tempos in the nation, top 10, while San Diego State always plays slow. It's always
Yeah.
their way of style. Are you going with the home team in the Mountain West, or do you think New Mexico can get this big win on the road?
I actually think that the spread's going to be way too large to put aside. I feel like San Diego State's going to get a relatively decent spread. Like it's going to be like 4.5 is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Um, but to your point, San Diego State at home, these totals tend to fall into the 130s. I think the other night
Yeah.
they had like 133.5. If we're getting that, I'm just going to take the over because New Mexico will score, and San Diego State has been known this year to not fully play that style of play, but they can keep up and shoot the ball. So I'll take the over as the pick. The spread gets closer to like 2.5. Maybe I'll take San Diego State, but this is a huge game in the Mountain West.
So right now, Ken Palm has this game being 78-74. So they actually expect a lot of points, but you hit the nail on the head with the spread. I'm avoiding the spread. So if it's over one, like if it's anything 141 and up, I'm going to take the under, and
Yeah.
if it's in the 130s, I'm taking the over. So you're going to have to check on Friday. We don't have a spread yet. I just looked on ESPN, and I couldn't find a spread for Friday night. So you're going to have to look at that. But I'm going to play the under if it's 141 and a half or more, and I'm going to play
Yeah.
the over if it's in the 130s.
I just have a hard time believing both those teams get into the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, it's going to be like 73-70. Like it's going to be really tight.
And I think they have played one. Yeah, New Mexico beat San Diego State by 18 in the first game, but of
Yeah.
course that was a home game. So,
Yeah.
all right, so you have to check that one. Saturday though is an absolutely loaded slate. If you don't have, I hope you have nothing to do on Saturday because you can just watch college basketball from noon on. It is a great slate, and it starts with three awesome games at noon. The first one being Texas Tech 18-6 at number 10, Iowa State 19-5. I think we both already know you're going to take the undefeated team at home. But let's say we go with what Ken Palm has. They have it at 6 or 5.5 as the spread. Is that enough points to get you to take Texas Tech? Or are you going to go with Iowa State?
I'm thinking Iowa State. I don't care what the spread is.
Okay.
They're so much better. I like the last month they have really convinced me that they're a quality team, not just the usual Iowa State that we referenced eons ago. I think
Yeah.
you get around 4.5, 5.5, 6.5. You take Iowa State. Free throws will matter down the end. Iowa
Yeah.
State all day. The total actually will be impossible to pick on that game too. I don't know which way it'll go, but I do think Iowa State covers.
Okay, so that's funny you said that because I'm actually going to go with the total here.
Okay.
Um, so this is the best Texas Tech offense we've seen in this era, but this is an amazing Iowa State defense, and they have on Ken Palm right now this to be 143 points. If it's
Well,
if it's over 140, I'm going under because I know both of these teams are really good on defense. I know Texas Tech has an efficient offense, but this is a road game against maybe the best offensive team in the nation. So I'm going to take the under, and I expect it to be at least 140, seeing what Ken Palm has.
I mean the best defensive team in the nation.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
best defensive team. Yes.
Yep.
All right, another one at noon on Saturday. Wake Forest 16-8 at number 21, Virginia 19-6. As I mentioned, Virginia did just lose their first home game of the season, the first home loss in the last 24 games. It might shock you because we've been talking a lot about Virginia. Wake Forest actually ranks significantly higher in Ken Palm, 24 spots higher. And actually, they have them favored to win this game. It's an ugly loss that Virginia's coming off of against Pittsburgh at home. Wake though, 1-4 in their last 4 or 5 road games. Virginia's going to be like stingy as hell on
Oh
defense
yeah.
this game. I'm definitely taking them, and especially if we have to lay like one possession or less, or if it's a pick 'em. They were just one of the hottest teams in the nation before last game, and they'll be ready to go in this one.
Yeah, you take Virginia, easy, don't care. Also, probably the under. Unless there's some crazy, like I said, 128, 129. I feel like
Yeah,
it's going to float into the 130. So you take the under, you take Virginia.
yeah, love it. All right, the third noon game on Saturday, TCU 17-7 at Kansas State 15-9. While Kansas State's 1-5 run in their last 6 has basically killed them for the
Yeah,
ten.
talk about bad.
Yeah. Um, they do have to probably run the table, but TCU is firmly on the bubble. They're one of the last 4 teams in right now. TCU 4-2 in their last 6, with the wins over Texas Tech and Baylor in those 6 games. I actually think these 2 teams are really evenly matched. And yes, I
Hmm.
said they're 4-2 in their last 6, but they're 4-4 in their last 8. So when it's evenly matched, and I don't really think the road team has much of an advantage, I'm actually going to take the home team here. Yes, Kansas State has a long shot to make the tournament, but I still think they're a decently quality team. So I will take them to beat TCU.
This is iffy. I feel like Kansas State has not recovered since their Super Bowl victory over Kansas.
Yeah, they really have.
I'll take the over. I'll take the
Okay.
over. I'll see what happens on the spread. I'll have to think about it. Follow the tweeter. That might be a gut game. Just go with your
Yeah.
gut.
Okay. I like it. All right, another 12:30 game. So just 30 minutes later than these other games. A huge Big East game. Number 17, Creighton, 18-7 at Butler, 16-9. Butler did barely lose to Marquette. I mean, that's pretty much a
Yeah.
quality win when you barely lose to Marquette. They're still very bubbly. They're still one of the last 4 teams in. Creighton actually lost to Butler on their home court just 2 weeks ago. Who do you like in this huge Big East matchup?
Taking Butler. I think Butler is a more quality team right now. Creighton is a team you cannot trust at all. Did they play was Providence the other day?
Hmm.
And like barely won that game and what should have been a blowout, honestly, if Creighton is Creighton.
Yeah,
Mind you, my eyes are literally turning red as I'm looking into
they
the
really
screen.
are. They really are.
I'm taking Butler though. I'm taking Butler in this game.
I might have to go through the rest of the podcast by myself if he craps out. I actually couldn't believe we agree on this because like Creighton has beat similar teams to Butler, Nebraska, Xavier, Seton Hall, but I think Butler will bring the same energy and desperation they did against Marquette, and I think that beats Creighton because Marquette right now is one of the top 4 teams in the nation, and they hung with them the entire
Yes.
time. Again, another home game. It's going to be an electric crowd. I think Butler gets it done against Creighton.
You know what I sidebar here? The Big East is turning into a hodgepodge of garbage. Like from like a record perspective, like all
Yeah.
of them are like 500 in the conference. They're all like around that 15 to 17 win mark.
Yep.
I don't know how many teams are going to get in.
Well, and it's just like you got Marquette and UConn running away with 1 and 2, and then everyone's just basically 500 in the
Yeah,
conference.
that's what I'm
So
saying. Like I was looking at it the other day, I was like, they might only get 3 or 4 teams in, depending on
yeah,
how things fall.
yeah, and it's a shame because like I mean Xavier Seton Hall they've actually made a run here at the end of the year, but
Yeah.
that's not. Yeah, you're kind of right. Like there's only 3 locks right now for sure.
Like
So
the only thing I can think of is they do some BS like they did with the Big Ten. Was it like 2018? Where
where
like
these.
it was like 9 teams got in. I think like even like Nebraska had like 18 wins or some crap.
Mm,
They're like, well, the conference is just so good. It's
yeah,
like,
and then they all were out before the
yeah,
second
there was
weekend.
like 2 teams in the third round of 32. It's like, what are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, you're right. Right now, ESPN only has 4 Big East teams. It's the big 3, and then they have Butler
Yeah,
barely in right now.
that's
So,
insane. That is insane.
all right. So we would go from a pretty entertaining matchup to a not entertaining matchup. 2:15 on Saturday. Number 20, Wisconsin, 17-8 at Iowa,
Oh
14-11.
my God.
Wisconsin ended their 4-game losing streak by beating a pathetic Ohio State team who fired Holtman right after this. Iowa has been absolutely terrible in the Big Ten, just 3-5 in their last 8, and their only wins are against other bottom feeders in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, though, they're clearly the more talented team. Iowa's offense has really taken a step back. They still rank in the top 20 efficiency wise, but it's just because of the early season. They went from like 1 or 2 to like now they're like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with the talent here. And right now, Ken Palm has this at a 1 point game. So I'll just take the talent in a even matchup.
I mean, if it's a 1 point spread, Wisconsin at home,
No, no, no. Iowa.
I was gonna say that
No.
smells like the nastiest cheese I ever smelled.
Yeah.
um, Yeah, okay. If they're on the road, yeah, you take Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I think given their struggles of late, that warrants the spread on the road. Iowa, not a good team. McCaffrey's annoying, which is
Yeah.
funny because didn't he come from Wichita State at one
Mhm.
point? Like he probably was loved. He should have just never left.
Yeah.
But anyhow, Wisconsin.
Yeah. And I was gonna say the freshman for Wisconsin, can't remember his name right now. Really athletic, like small forward.
That
They
guy,
actually
yeah.
Stroll, something like that. I don't know his name,
Oh,
but they
Stoll,
actually,
yeah, Stoll.
yeah, they told him the last game. The coach told him to like crash the boards. He got 13 rebounds, so they've got a new plan for him on the offense. But
Yeah,
that's about all I can give you for
yeah.
that. So
Speaking of Wisconsin, I was seeing a bunch of like, the Tic Tacs where they're like, hey, this is where like the 2019 All Big Ten team is, right? I was like going through where they are. Do you remember
mhm.
Ethan Happ?
Yeah, I do
I
remember.
completely forgot about that guy.
Back to the basket guy. He couldn't shoot anywhere
Oh,
outside of the paint, but man, that guy was just dominant in the paint.
fun fact, he plays in Turkey.
Really? Wow,
Yeah.
he's still playing ball. Okay. That's crazy. I remember like because I lived downtown during his last year and we watched a lot of Wisconsin basketball there. So yeah. All right. Maybe game of the year, 3 p.m. on Saturday. Number 4 Marquette, 19-5 at number 1 UConn, 23-2. Drop everything to watch this game on
Yes.
Saturday. Two of the top 4 teams that are clearly above the rest of the nation, like Marquette, UConn, Houston, Purdue, just elite right now. UConn though, 42-4 in their last 46 home games in the last 3 years. So we're talking giant mountain for Marquette to
Yeah.
climb here to win. But Marquette last year did beat UConn at Marquette and in the Big East tournament on a neutral site. So they did beat them twice in their title season for UConn.
Mhm.
Are you just going to go with UConn, or do you think Marquette has a shot to win this one?
No, I think UConn's going to win the game, but I also think that the bookkeepers are smart enough to not give you anything easy. This is going to be like a 4.5 point spread where you have to like think about it.
Yeah.
I will say though, both very efficient offenses. I'm curious to see what the total is. If that total starts to creep into like the mid 150s, I might take the under
Do you
because
want me to give you what Ken Palm's got?
yes, please.
All right, we got 77-70.
Oh, that's only 147.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that case, that would make me not feel good because it's probably going to be around like 145 and a half. And then I'm like, I don't
Gonna
know
come
what to
down
do.
to it's gonna come down to free throws at that point.
Yeah. I mean, both these teams, again, I always tend to sit on the side of low scoring, and so does Ken Palm apparently, when it comes to top teams like this. So we'll see. But if it creeps into the 150s, I'm taking the under. 145 and a half, who effing knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Take a guess. I don't know. Flip a coin. See what happens.
It if you
Take
give
team totals, maybe. We'll look at those. I don't
yeah,
know.
if you give me more than 5.5 points as Marquette, I'm taking them. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I think this is going to come down to the end. Right now, I've watched not a lot of UConn because they've been playing bad teams in the Big East, but
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of Purdue. I've watched a lot of Marquette, and those two teams are just playing on like an incredible level right now. So I'll take them plus the points. I don't think they win the game. I mean, 42-4. It's kind of stupid to bet against
Yeah.
that. but I'll take Marquette plus the points as long as I'm getting at least 6 points with it. And are you doing okay? I feel like you're not doing that well over there.
I'm fine. We're getting through it. We're making it through.
All right, at 4 p.m., another decent game, I guess. Actually, never mind.
He
Number
lied.
6, Kansas, 19-6. At number 25, Oklahoma, 18-7. I think we both would just pound Kansas here. But McCullough has missed 4 of his last 5 games, including the
Yep.
last one when they lost by over 30 points. I don't think he's going to play. So I'll take the under here if he doesn't play. If he does play, I'll take Kansas. But the problem with this is in college, you don't have to announce it until like 15 minutes before the game.
Yeah, that's the
So
worst.
unless you're going to like be right on it, it's going to be really tough to bet this game. So I would avoid it unless you like find something out early on Saturday.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. Team huddle. You're gonna live bet it whenever the lineup doesn't matter
There you go.
because the line's gonna adjust. And if McTrader is not playing,
Yeah.
you just take the Oklahoma line.
Yeah.
Just take it.
Yeah.
And actually, if you like Oklahoma, take him now because
Yeah.
we don't know if he's playing.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't play. That offense just doesn't work as well. And Oklahoma, as much as we hate on them, they are the 25th apparently best team in the country. They're at home. Surely to God, they will cover what will probably be like a 7.5 point game.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. And honestly, the book is out on Dickinson. Like everybody knows how to guard him now. Like it's just this that he's been like scouted so well. Like
Yes.
he's just not nearly the player he like because every team knows how to guard him right now.
I
So
don't know if a man has lost more money in 2 years than him.
yeah, I completely
Like
agree.
worst mistake of his life thinking that run they made at Michigan was going to somehow
Mhm.
come back and get a national title for him because he stinks.
Yeah, and I heard watching their game against Texas Tech when they were down by 5,000 points that he has another year of eligibility. So we're gonna have to
COVID
watch
year.
him. Yeah, we're gonna have to watch another freaking year of this guy.
Honestly, like if he could just like get a decent 3 point shot, which I know he does shoot it sometimes,
Yeah.
he could be like the ninth guy on like the Grizzlies
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
I don't know, the Thunder, a team that like
Yeah.
already has some talent that he doesn't have to try too hard.
Yeah. What I really miss from him is at Michigan, like he like took over games when he had to like take over.
Yes,
At Kansas, he doesn't. He just doesn't take over anything.
it is very true. He used to be a lot more aggressive, I feel like, and
Hmm.
hungrier. Now he just kind
Yeah.
of like lets the game come to him, which is fine, but it also just it warrants is what for him it doesn't work because it just looks like he's not trying.
Hmm.
Right?
That's
Like there
true.
are players that it looks effortless to them, and then you
Yeah.
look at the box score and they scored 32 points, right? Like,
Yeah.
but for him, it's like he scores 16, and you're like, where's the effort at, dude?
Hmm.
Where's the
Yeah.
effort? Especially
I
whenever
still.
like his rebound totals, like if you go to his like totals, they're like over under 7.5. The dude should
Yeah.
have 7 rebounds in the first half.
Yep. That reminds me so much of remember like the Champions Classic where it was like Duke, Michigan State, and then Kentucky, Kansas at the beginning
Yeah.
of the year in Chicago. He
Yep.
had 33 points, 22 rebounds, absolutely dominated Kentucky. And it's like that's the guy. It's like, where is he right now? Where is
Yeah.
this guy? All right, we go to a Mountain West battle here, 5:30 p.m. Utah State, 21-4 at Colorado State, 19-6. Before we preview this game, I don't know, did you watch any of the second half of the Colorado State San Diego State game?
Not a chance.
Well, Colorado State was up by 14 on the road at San Diego State. They lost in the second half, 41-11. Like it
Oh
was
my
so
God.
bad. I had them plus 6.5. So at half, I was leading by 20.5 points, and I lost
And
by double digits.
that's insane. I scored
Yeah,
11 points
yeah. And
in a
they had
half.
eight. They had eight halfway through the half, so they scored 3 points in the last 10 minutes of the game.
Holy moly. Literally, holy moly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Colorado State is 9-1 at home, and Utah State did win this first game 77-72, and they are 6-3 on the road, tied with New Mexico. So a decent road team in the Mountain West.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Colorado State at home here, despite them basically losing every bet I make on them, or does Utah State get the big road win?
Utah State did get a road win the other day. Was it against UNLV, I think? A little
That,
bit
that
closer than you'd anticipate.
yeah.
Um, I hate it, but for some reason when you said it out loud, it just spoke to me. I think I'm taking Utah State on the road. Knowing
All
nothing
right.
about Colorado State or the blowout when you mentioned it, or the
Yeah.
blow up, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if Utah State wins this game, they kind of have like the track to winning the conference title because if you don't think New Mexico can beat San Diego State and Utah State does beat Colorado State, that'll give them a 2-game lead on the
Yeah.
entire conference. I honestly, I have been so bad at betting because I always bet Colorado State because they get a lot of points on the road or
Yeah.
it's tight at home, and I feel like I lose every bet. So I'm going to go with Utah State just because I haven't figured out Colorado State since early in the conference schedule.
I feel like too we're getting in the realm of the Big East with Mountain West. Like they kind of need Utah State to win this game.
Yeah.
So they can like
I,
firmly have three. I think they
yeah.
firmly have three. It starts to turn into a hodgepodge. It's like, well, then maybe you only have two, and like the third one has to get lucky, and it's probably a playing game or some crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's insane just looking at the Mountain West. Like fourth is UNLV now. Boise State, Colorado State, and Nevada
Yeah.
are all below them. This is just insane.
And you would never think UNLV is a good team.
No. Oh, they're not a good team. Yeah. 14-10 on the season.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
14-10.
All right, 6 p.m. Number 22, Kentucky, 17-7. At number 13, Auburn, 20-5. Here's where I'll go into the Auburn stats that I had. Yes, Kentucky did finally get a home win that ended the 3-game losing streak at home. But Auburn, maybe the best team at home. It's either them or Iowa State. They're 13-0 at home. And listen to this. They have been dominant at home. They have won every single game by at least double digits. Only one game has been by less than 11 points or by less than 15 points as a win at home. They beat South Carolina, they beat Bama, they beat Ole Miss. Do you give Kentucky any chance to win? I don't really in this game, but what if I told you Ken Palm has them as 11-point underdogs? Would you take Kentucky plus 11?
I think I'd take them plus the 11, yes, but I don't think they have
Yeah.
a chance of winning this. And you
Mhm.
are the biggest dum dum if you don't take the over in this game.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
like the total will probably be like 171 even, and I'm taking
Yeah.
the over.
Yeah. That remember how you touted last podcast that you just take the over in the Auburn South Carolina game,
Yeah.
even though like South Carolina plays like very little offense
Yes.
all season, and it went into the 160s in that game. So,
Yes. Which is funny because I actually remember seeing the score and being like, I seen Auburn's score total and I was like, oh, easy. And then I was like, oh
mhm.
crap. I might have to check it out because it's literally like
uh,
162
yeah,
points.
yeah. I think out of all the SEC teams, the only team that can really like stay up with Auburn is Kentucky.
Yep.
I do think Auburn wins this game, but I do think Kentucky runs with them. So I will. I'll go with the plus 10, plus 11, plus 9, whatever we get with Kentucky. I actually would think this is going to be a pretty entertaining game, especially if this is what you watch after watching Kansas, Oklahoma, or Utah
Mm-hmm.
State, Colorado
Mm-hmm.
State. It'll be a more entertaining game than those.
Yep. Honestly, if you could take first half total, second half total,
Yeah.
I'd be see, I would say second half total if you can't because you get the free throws, but
What do you think the over underline comes in at? Because right now, Ken Palm has the score being a total of 165.
I'm gonna say the total is gonna be somewhere in the ballpark of 169 to 171.
Okay. Okay. It's a lot of points. A lot of
Yeah,
points.
it's a lot of points, but that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last game on Saturday. I had to put this one on here because it's a must win for our boys. 7 p.m. Number 23, Indiana State, 22-4 at Southern Illinois, 16-10. As I mentioned earlier, we picked up a quad 4 loss, which absolutely is terrible for our resume trying to get an at large if we don't win the conference. Um, if they lose this game, Indiana State, this will be a quad 3 loss. That means they have a quad 4, quad 3, and only one quad 1 win. So this is a big game for Indiana State not to pick up a
Mm-hmm.
bad loss. Southern Illinois, not a slouch at home, 10-4 overall. But our boys kicked their ass by 44 last time. Yes, it was at home. Ken Palm has this game at a 4. I'll lay up to 7 points with Indiana State. I'm taking them to bounce back. They cannot shoot nearly as bad as they did last time.
No, I think that was their we're not Superman game. So now I think they're gonna show up. They're gonna win this game by 20. Like it's
Love it.
gonna be they're gonna you don't beat a team by 44 and then turn
Mm-hmm.
around and like only win by 6. Like it just doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. One of these games, like this one, take the spread, whatever the spread is, and then go find the alternate line of like minus 15 and see if you
Yeah.
can like double it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, not to again go off course here, but I think it was last show I mentioned taking Baylor, however high of a line you could take, because I think the
Uh-huh.
line was like 3.5, 4.5. It went by 18. You
Yeah,
couldn't
they
even bet it that
dominated.
high.
Uh-huh.
like, like,
Yep. They dominated that game. All right, let's move to Sunday. First Sunday, well, I guess not first Sunday. We had Pro Bowl Sunday that didn't have football, but first Sunday with football officially gone. At noon, we have number 24, FAU, 19-5 at South Florida, 18-5. If you don't watch college basketball as much as we do, you're probably like, why is this game on here? Well, South Florida is actually leading the American. They're 11-5 in the conference, a game and a half up on FAU, and they're on a 10-game win streak, and they're 16-1 in their last 17 games. So
Mhm.
nobody's paid attention to South Florida, but they've been playing really well. FAU significantly higher ranked than literally anything you look at. Net, Ken Palm efficiency on defense, offense. Yet Ken Palm only has this as a 4-point game. Do you think FAU keeps it going, wins on the road, or do you think South Florida actually extends their lead?
This is an interesting game. I think it's just South Florida's like championship. Like
Oh,
it is for
100%.
them, 100%, right? But FAU, like they're an older, more tenured team, made a Final Four last year. Like they're not. This is where I think they need to show like, are they ready for the big moment? Where some of the losses a little bit fluky, but they're ready for tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ride with FAU because I do believe in them, but we got to see it out of them. I don't know what the line will be. What you said is 4. Was it 4 for who? USF?
FAU,
FAU?
FAU. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say this: if it gets above 5, I'll take USF to cover, but FAU needs to win this game.
Yeah. This is one of those where you get annoyed, or not you annoyed, but people that
Yeah,
bet
I
on
know
my
what you
stuff
mean.
gets annoyed where I bet it down to like -2 at like -150 because I'm just worried about like FAU not covering the 5 points or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to take FAU because of one point we talked about last podcast where they're getting dangerously close to like ruining their seed to where they don't have a chance to win. Right now, they're a 6 seed. If they lose this game, this would count as a quad 3 loss, and this would be their fifth loss outside of the top 75 in net, which would really hurt their seed. They'd probably drop into the 8-9 game, and you don't have a lot of options to pick up a seed in their conference. So I'm taking them kind of reluctantly in this game. But South Florida's not even on the bubble right now. If they win this game, we're going to start seeing them in like the first four out, first like
Mm-hmm.
next four out type of thing in case they don't win the conference. So
Kind of, it's just shameful that they're not even in like first 4 out. That's ridiculous.
and yet we have Xavier with 11 losses and whatever. All right, next one up. I'm actually kind of excited about this one. Memphis 18-6 at SMU 17-7. As we mentioned last pod, Memphis is actually nowhere near the bubble, despite earlier in the season we had them in our top 10 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even in the next four out, according to ESPN. But just bear with me for a second. They've lost 6 games this season in a total of 3 weeks. They lost 2 in 1 week and then 4 in a row in 2 weeks. In the other 2 months on the schedule, they are 18-0 with 3 quad 1 wins. They're currently on a win 4, and they have 3 quad 1 wins already this season. They still have 3 games against quad 1 teams, including this game and 2 more against FAU. So I'm not giving up on Memphis. This will be a dogfight. And you're getting right now, Ken Palm says 7 points on the road with Memphis at SMU. I think Memphis is more talented than SMU. I actually just watched SMU play for half or for 3/4 of a game before we got on this podcast. They were playing against Tulane. Not impressive. I'm going to take Memphis in this one because I think they rally here at the end of the year because they've only had 3 bad weeks the entire season. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line, but definitely take them on the spread too.
Yes. You convinced me. I'm taking Memphis all day, every day. No problem.
I love it. I love it. Look at that. Got you to jump on board here. And then in a game I don't think anyone's going to seek out on Sunday night, Utah 15-9 at UCLA 13-11. These are literally
Disgusting.
these are literally 2 ships crossing paths right now. Like I don't know how Utah on ESPN right now is one of the last 4 teams in. They literally have lost 4 of the last 5, 7 of the last 10, and that's in a bad conference. UCLA, on the other hand, nobody's been watching them, but they've won 5 in a row and 7 of 8, and their only loss is a close road loss in Arizona. I'm all over this one with UCLA. I think it's going to be either they're a dog or even at home. I think they blow Utah State out. I would take like the -5, but we're getting even money, like even money line here. So I'm going to
Yeah,
take UCLA.
Utah's a different team on the road. You never take them on the road. Take UCLA. You also take the under. These teams are not going to play quick.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, last game on the slate to close it out on Monday night. We have a good old rivalry matchup, 7 p.m. Number 21 Virginia, 19-6 at Virginia Tech, 14-10. Kind of Virginia Tech Super Bowl because they're not going to make the tournament with how many losses they have in conference. But it's really hard to play at Virginia Tech. You know it's going to be a blackout there. Who do you like in this one?
Did you say it's going to be a blackout?
Mm-hmm.
Take Virginia Tech.
There you go. There you go.
You know the rules.
Yeah.
Big game, black jersey. You take the black jersey.
They went with a white out against Duke, so I'm assuming they're going black out against Virginia. So
okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm going Virginia Tech as well. I think Virginia kind of played above their skis the last about month or so. I think they'll get the win, like we said on Saturday. That'll be a big win for them to bounce back against Wake Forest. But I hate that turnaround of going Saturday, big game, then road game against your rival when the rival really has nothing to play for besides to beat you. So I will also take Virginia Tech, and you're going to get a nice, decent amount of points because right now Ken Palm has Virginia Tech 5-point underdogs. So.
Ooh.
All right, that'll wrap it up. Go find us on Twitter at MingoMade1 is Jordan, and at Kyle Cliffy is my Twitter handle. Also, we'll pick. There's so many other games that we could have picked as well, but we didn't want to bombard you with more than 15 picks. So just make sure you check us out before the games start on Saturday and Sunday, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Love you guys.